Most people leave their hometown after high school or college, but in Minneapolis, the story usually plays out a little differently. I was born and raised in Minneapolis, and I'm still here. I've watched this place change from the inside over the years, and today I'm giving you my honest take on what it's really like to live in the Minneapolis area long term. After helping hundreds of families move here and seeing who falls in love with it and who decides it's not for them, here's what nobody really tells you about living in the Minneapolis metro. All right, so staying in your hometown sounds kind of crazy to most people. I get it, but let me start with why I'm still here. It has way more to do with real life than just whole Minnesota nice thing. It really starts with something you might feel almost right away when you move here. Community. It's the biggest reason why I stayed. My family's here, my friends are here, and that foundation matters a great deal more than people think. But having roots is just part of it. What really matters is the kind of community you're surrounded by. Minneapolis ranks number 30 globally for quality of life and even earned gold status among the happiest cities in the world. That's the top 3% globally. And no, that's not just feel-good marketing. When you live somewhere that truly supports connection, you notice it every single day. You know what I mean? Neighbors help shovel your driveway without you asking. People smile and say hi when you're walking around the lakes. It is real, and it goes way past the stereotype. And people from totally different backgrounds and beliefs live side by side and actually can get along. That pull is strong. It's what brings families home. And this sense of community matters even more once you see the pattern of people leaving and then coming right back, which I'll talk about later, so stick around. And once you see what this community is built around, it all starts to make even more sense. Most cities talk a big game about outdoor stuff. Here, you actually get it. And a lot of it's within walking distance of downtown. A lot of people hear Minnesota and think it's cold and boring. I get why, but we've got something most cities just don't have. 5 connected lakes right inside the city with over 1,500 acres of public waterfront. So let me break this down real quick. You've got Lake Harriet, Bade-Makaska, Lake of the Isles, Cedar Lake, and Brownie Lake. And they're all tied together by more than 13 miles of trails. Those trails connect to the 50-mile Grand Round Scenic Byway. On top of that, about 99% of people in the Twin Cities live within a 10-minute walk of a park. That's kind of a wild for a major metro. And here's something I'll explain more in a bit. This outdoor access ends up being a big part of how people get through the toughest part of living here. So stay with me. Now, what really makes it special is this. There are 0 private waterfront homes on these lakes. Every bit of it is public. You can walk it, bike it, sit by it, whatever you want. In a lot of places, the best land gets locked up by the highest bidder. Here, the waterfront stayed open for everyone. And again, that mindset shapes how people actually live here. And this idea of shared space really sets the tone for how the seasons work here. Before we get into that, quick heads up. If you're thinking about moving here and you want a real insight on neighborhoods, school districts, or what winter actually feels like day to day, I help relocating families with this every week. My contact info is in the description below. All right, let's keep going. People love to compare places when it comes to weather, but here's what really matters. The seasons here actually shape how you live day to day. So let's talk about something most people get wrong about Minnesota, the seasons. Yes, winters are cold, no way around that. But that cold opens the door to things you just don't get in a lot of places. I'm talking downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, sledding, ice skating, and even mobile saunas out on the lakes where people jump in for an ice plunge. We've got over 15 miles of groomed cross-country trails that are kept up all winter long. Theodore Wirth Park alone has multiple ski trails plus sledding hills that turn into real winter hangout spots, not just something you do once and forget about it. And remember that pattern I mentioned earlier about people leaving and then coming back? Once you see the pattern of people leaving and then coming right back, the seasons play a big role in that. Then summer shows up, and honestly, it's hard to beat. We get real heat. I'm talking 80s and 90s pretty regularly. But you've also got lakes everywhere to cool off. Boating, wakeboarding, swimming, or just hanging by the water. It's that lake life people chase, except it's right here in the middle of a major metro. And what keeps things from feeling stale is that fall shows up with insane color changes, cooler mornings, and perfect days to be outside. Then spring rolls in and everything comes back to life. Things are always changing. changing, your rhythm changes, your routine changes, and it keeps life feeling fresh instead of the same thing every single day. And keep that seasonal rhythm in mind when we talk about real estate later. When you move during certain times of the year, that can make a real difference in what you pay, so stick around. Now, that season to season change matters even more when you're raising kids here. So let's dive into that. The school side of things here goes deeper than test scores and college talk. The school situation is honestly strong. High schools here rank at the top year after year. Wayzata, Edina, and Minnetonka are consistently some of the best in the state. And they show up strong on national rankings too. At the college level, the University of Minnesota is a top-ranked public research school. And something pretty cool happened recently. The University of St. Thomas, where I actually went to college, made the jump from Division III to Division I athletics. It used to pull mostly Midwest students, but now it's getting attention from all over as a Division I school. But these education options lead to another thing this area does really well. Okay, so having professional sports going on all year long is one of the coolest parts about living here. Minnesota has 5 pro teams, which not every state can say. You've got the Timberwolves for basketball, the Twins for baseball, the Vikings for football, the Wild for hockey, and Minnesota United for soccer over at Allianz Field. I personally hit more Vikings and Wild games because those are the sports I follow the most. And if you're into sports at all, you've got choices. You're not just locked into one team. You can follow whatever you're into all year long. And that same variety you see in entertainment shows up in where you can live too. One of the things I really like about this area is that every suburb feels different. Minneapolis is an older city, so you'll see a lot of beautiful older homes and historic areas. As you head out a bit, you'll start seeing newer neighborhoods and developments too. Take Anoka, for example. It's north of the city and has a really charming historic downtown right on the Mississippi River. Then if you head southwest, you've got Chaska, which also has a historic downtown sitting right along the Minnesota River. And the price differences between places like this, which I'll break down later, can completely change how you think about buying a home. Now you've also got suburbs like Wayzata or Maple Grove, where I grew up. These areas feel newer and more modern. So it's not just one look or one vibe across the whole metro. If you want history, you've got it. If you want a newer suburban feel, that's easy to find too. And if lake life matters to you, places like Wayzata and Excelsior sit right on the water. There really is something for everyone here, depending on what you want. You're not locked into all brand new builds, and you're not stuck with only older homes either. You get a mix of both, and you see that everywhere. So yeah, having options means you can change neighborhoods without having to leave the metro. And that variety shows up in the food scene too. Now this is where a lot of people get surprised. Over the last few decades, Minneapolis has built a real national reputation. You can see the number of James Beard Award winners here. Last year, Best New Restaurant went to Boucheron. Best Chef in the Midwest went to Carry-On Tomlinson from Muriel in St. Paul. And Spoon & Stable was recognized as a semi-finalist for Outstanding Restaurant. It's the kind of food scene people travel for, and it goes beyond just restaurant. The mix of cultures here is a big part of it. Add in the strong Nordic roots and you end up with a city where different communities mix in a really natural way. It feels lived in and real. The brewery scene is another big part of that. Places like Surly, Indeed, Fair State, and Baja Brew Labs are always busy. Now, as great as all of that sounds, no place is perfect. And Minneapolis definitely has a few things you need to think about. Every year, the same few things push some families to pack up and leave. So let's be real about it, because there are some legit challenges here, and the first one usually hits visitors right away. Winter here can completely change how your day works for months at a time. The cold gets on people's nerves. Every year, if we get a tough winter with a lot of snow and really low temps, people feel it. Last year, the coldest day hit -19 Fahrenheit, and wind chills can drop into the teens early in the season. This is the kind of winter where you plan your day around staying warm. Cars don't always start. Pipes can freeze. Everything slows down. If you're not ready for that lifestyle shift, winter can be a deal breaker. But the flip side is that the people who stay learn how to handle it. You buy the right gear and find ways to enjoy winter. And honestly, it makes spring and summer feel that much better. But weather isn't the only reality check people run into either. Okay, so here's the thing. This is usually where reality hits people the hardest. When tax season rolls around, Minnesota makes itself very clear. Property taxes and state taxes here are high. There's no way to sugarcoat that. Minnesota uses a progressive state tax system with rates that run from about 5.35% up to 9.85%. On top of that, property tax rates are expected to go up around 6.8% this year. A lot of people get worn down watching those bills creep up higher year after year. The residential homestead rate sits at 1% on the first $500,000 of market value. On its own, that doesn't sound awful. But once you stack state taxes, property taxes, and everything else together, the total number starts to feel pretty real. And the part you really need to understand is that these taxes tie directly into how the real estate market works here, which I'll break down in a little bit. Now, knowing how that connection works can save you a lot of money. This adds up fast, especially when you compare it to states with no state income tax or much lower property taxes. I've seen families move just because they wanted to keep more of what they earn, which totally makes sense. But this is where things get interesting because not everyone who leaves stays gone. So there's a pattern here that says a lot about what Minnesota actually offers. Something you see pretty clearly is that younger people are the most likely to leave. Late teens, 20s, that age range. In recent years, Minnesota saw a net loss of around 3,000 workers as people moved to other states. A big chunk of that happens when students leave for college and don't come back right away after graduating. But here's the pattern I see year over year. People grow up here. They head out of state for college because they want something different. They take their first job somewhere else. And then a few years later, they start thinking about coming back. And this is where it all connects. It's kind of a full circle thing. People leave, experience something new, and then realize they actually liked what Minnesota offered. Sure, there are challenges, but family, friends, and the lifestyle pulls people back. Recent data shows that about 16% of people are now moving back into cities, which is the highest we've seen in a decade. Minneapolis fits really well into that trend of wanting city energy while still being close to nature. And understanding this movement matters a lot once you start looking at the housing market. One thing that tells you a lot about demand here is how fast homes sell. Speed matters more than price points in this market. So let me give you a quick snapshot of what the real estate market looks like right now, because this plays into pretty much everything about living here long term. Based on current Redfin and Zillow data, the overall market is sitting with median home prices in the mid 300,000s. But this is where things really start to change. Prices vary a lot depending on the neighborhood and the lifestyle you want. If you're looking for that lake lifestyle in places like Linden Hills or Kenwood, prices usually land in the high 800s to mid 900,000s. These areas offer direct lake access and that established neighborhood feel that a lot of people want. Being close to those lakes drive prices in a big way. If you want something more moderate, neighborhoods like Fulton or the North Loop usually fall in the mid 300s to high 600,000s range. You still get the city lifestyle, just without the lake premium. Right now, the market is competitive. Homes are selling in around 40 days on average. That tells you people want to be here. And that competition points to something bigger about who chooses to stay. A lot of the same things that push people away actually turn into advantages once you understand how to live with them. After living here my whole life and helping hundreds of families move, here's what I've noticed about people who stay versus people who leave. The ones who stay long-term actually enjoy the four-season lifestyle. They don't just get through winter. They find ways to enjoy it. And they love having real outdoor activities right inside the city, not just something they do on vacation. They care more about community than convenience. Remember that quality of life ranking I talked about earlier? It's built on those types of choices. People are okay with paying higher taxes for strong schools and good public spaces. They want their kids growing up around different cultures and real opportunities. This area also ranks near the top for park systems, and people who stay actually use them. These are the families you see skiing at Theodore Wirth in January and sailing on Lake Harriet in July. Here's what stands out the most to me. The happiest people here don't just deal with the challenges. They see them as trade-offs that make sense for the lifestyle they want. That mindset shapes what living here actually feels like. So here's my honest take after living here my entire life. Minneapolis offers something hard to find. You get city amenities with a strong community feel, plus outdoor access that most major cities just don't have. You can catch a pro sports game, eat an incredible restaurant, visit a museum, and still be on a lake or a ski trail within 20 minutes. The downsiders are real. Winters are tough, taxes are high, and not everyone loves a seasonal lifestyle. But if you want 4 distinct seasons, real community, and outdoor living without giving up city life, this place checks a lot of boxes. That ranking around 30th globally for quality of life didn't happen by accident. It comes from investing in public spaces, keeping neighborhoods diverse, and building a place where people can put down roots. Living here rewards people who lean in, not people who just test it out. The folks who really love it understand that the challenges are part of what creates the lifestyle so many people are looking for. If you're thinking about moving here and want real neighborhood-specific insight on schools, commutes, and what your budget actually gets you, shoot me an email today. And make sure you check out the video I've linked here about the 7 things you need to know before moving to the Minneapolis area, including why the same house can cost $2,600 more per year just 15 minutes down the road. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.